Cardigan Mountain School offers a close-knit community that prepares middle school boys in mind, body, and spirit for responsible and meaningful lives in society.
To achieve our mission, we reward effort and accomplishment, helping each boy realize his academic, physical, and personal potential through the integration of the following core values in all aspects of daily life.
Compassion, be kind, seek to understand others, and go out of your way to help.
Integrity. Remain true to yourself and your word.
Respect. Be considerate. Care for yourself in Mountain School.
Courage. Be brave. Face adversity with strength and persistence.
Welcome to opening ceremony. Thank you to Preston Merrick, our school leader, Gustavo Struck, our assistant school leader, Sam Bay, Liam Murphy, Mateo Escalante, and James Liu for reading our mission statement and our core values. This is why we're here today. Another opportunity to live, promote, uphold, and sustain the Cardigan Way. You all know at this point that our school theme is We Rise. You did an excellent job during our dorm board presentations of pointing that out as you explained your artistic designs. And I know for me, I can't be more excited for this year and what we're about to do together. This is my 5th opportunity of being able to open up this ceremony, and usually I would write a little something down, but given the year and the circumstances and the record-breaking number of times that we've rescheduled this ceremony, that didn't feel right to me. And I wanted to be able to just speak to you as a community from the heart just for a minute before we turn it over to our keynote speaker here today. And just remember that for us, our theme of We Rise is completely dependent upon our core values and our mission. That's what allows us to rise. It's our core values that make this community what it is. There's a reason why people come back here, why people have relationships that they hold on to for a lifetime. It's because of the quality of them. And our quality at Cardigan Mountain School is because of our character. And it's funny to call this our opening ceremony today because all of you have now been here for several days. So it doesn't quite feel like an opening, although it is our first day of normal scheduling. All of you have already gotten a chance to see what the Cardigan Way is about. You've gotten a chance to rise collectively, but also as individuals. And I know for me, right now, I'm kind of obsessed with this idea of being either a riser or a sinker, of when you're presented in a moment of challenge, of either being able to rise up yourself or to help others rise, or slipping into that temptation of sharing our negative emotions in a way that brings ourselves down and also brings others down around us. What is so amazing about being a part of this community is that all of us at some point or another are going to be a sinker. I know I do it at least once a day. And I get to be surrounded by people who more often than not are risers because of our core values. And that makes me a better person. That makes me a better teacher, a better dorm parent, a better coach, a better father and husband. And I know for me that Cardigan Mountain School is my home. And this is the place where I raise my family. This is the place I wake up each day and look at that mountain and know that I should be grateful that the small troubles of my world are nothing really worth complaining about because I have this. And I have you as this community to help me rise to my best each day. So I'm incredibly pumped to get to work with all of you. And I know that we're going to make this a great year as we rise together and as we take what is a really important year in Cardigan Mountain School's history to get back to our traditions, to get back to our rituals, to get back to being together as one, and to just doing what we do best, which is to live the Cardigan way and to leave this place better than we found it and to leave ourselves better than we arrived on day one. Now I get the honor and the privilege of introducing our guest speaker. Sorry, he's not a guest. He's our keynote speaker for today, and he's not new to Cardigan Mountain School. For some of you, he is new, but he served several years as a faculty member here before he took a little break and went off and explored some other professional opportunities, but fortunately for all of us, has now found his way back. And for all of you students out there, you may not believe it, but faculty also have a first day at Cardigan and a first year at Cardigan. And like you, I can remember when I first came in and I had those feelings of not knowing where I belonged in the community, of not knowing who my friends would be, of not knowing who I could sit with in the dining hall, or how all of our traditions worked, or whether or not I was even showing up to anything on time and in the right dress. And thinking about that each day as I tried to figure out how I could contribute and how I could belong here. So when I came, I was fortunate enough to have Mr. Carpino as my welcoming committee faculty member. And he made me feel like I belonged here. He was someone you could sit down and you could talk to and you could look in his eyes and you knew that 100% of his attention was on you, that he cared about you and what you had to say and your life and what you'd been through. And for me, that was so helpful in my transition to coming here. And I know I'm incredibly grateful to him and what he did for me. And what I remember most about Mr. Carpino from his first year here when I began is actually his final chapel speech of that year, where he spoke about how fortunate all of us were to live at Cardigan Mountain School and to be a part of this community. He spoke about how beautiful of a place we live in. And for me now, when I talk to anyone who's thinking about coming to this campus and joining this community, I think of that chapel speech and I let them know every single day that I wake up and walk to breakfast, I feel good about my life because I look around and I see where I am and I see who I'll be going to work with. And Mr. Carpino instilled that in me from my very first year as a faculty member. So I know I'm super grateful to have him back with us as a part of our community. I know that all of you boys are going to benefit from his thoughtfulness and his care and love for you and your lives. And I really look forward to hearing what he has for us today at this opening ceremony. And I hope you'll join me in giving him a warm Cardigan welcome to the podium.
That was really nice. Thank you. I can't tell you how good it feels to be back here. And the message and sort of the introduction he just gave me really ties into a lot of things that I want to talk about today. When Mr. Novak first asked me to talk at the opening ceremony, I was, like I am now, a bit nervous. And then I left the meeting, went home, sat down, and furiously wrote what I thought was an excellent speech. One that had swing tips for you. Things like use your resources, try new things, make mistakes, and learn from them. Celebrate achievement, help the other fella, work hard, have fun, which, by the way, are all things that you should do. In that speech also was this part about adversity and what it means to persevere. And I think the fact that we're standing here now, after what, we've gone through as a world. It's just remarkable that we're here together. And that if you're scared, if you're unsure, if you're nervous, those are all normal feelings. And one thing I know about this place is that it won't leave you behind, ever. That whatever you're feeling, it will lift you up and bring you along for the ride. And I tied some of my own adversity, personal experiences. But truthfully, I don't know if they fit today. So I called my best friend, a kid I've known since preschool, and traditionally this is not the kind of kid I would go to for help with algebra homework or grammar or anything like that. But also knowing that there are two types of smart in this world, the one for the books and the one for the street. And in that way, this is the smartest guy I know. I trust him with my life. So I read it to him, and he sort of just stopped. I was expecting some kind of good job, dude, ovation, anything. And he said, "Is that really what you want to say?" And I thought, no, it's really not. What I want to talk to you about today, what the driving force for my life, and what really has paved the road back here to Cardigan for me, is the word family. What it means to me, why it's so important, and through my experience, what it means to call a place home. I come from a pretty large family. Both my parents are one of 9. I have 63 first cousins, all of whom I'm close with, grew up close with. My father's Italian, my mother Irish. And I remember, I have 2 brothers, I'm the middle of 3 boys. I remember sort of these distinct ways that our parents taught us what it meant to be a family. My dad sat us down in chronological order when I was 12, put on the Godfather trilogy, closed the door, told us not to leave until it was over. My mom, who grew up in South Boston in the mid-60s to the mid-80s, was more about the fight. Family is about protection, support. That if something were to come between you and your family, you stand there, you take its best shot, and you get up, and you promise that thing that you're coming back for it. With my father, it meant, as a kid, when I was with him, it meant responsibility, people-pleasing, getting tasks done. With my mom, it was more about charisma and grace and presence, this sort of intoxicating wave that she carries with her. I'll say the next part fast. I went to Eaglebrook when I was 13. And I thought then it was because I was blessed with the ability to go really fast on a pair of ice skates. My mom was sick with stage 4 cancer at that time, and I was having trouble. And I think it was a way to separate me from the horror of what she was going through. As a result, I never really associated family with being home. That my family and friends were living one way, and I would be living another. All the values, things I've learned, I carried with me, treated everybody like they were my family, especially guys I played in hockey with, in the locker room, guys I went to school with. And as I got older, I started to wonder what it meant to be home. And I started to learn things from my own family that they would tell me when I was young, will tell you when you're older. And that those things I learned weren't perfect. That families aren't perfect. That some of the worst broken hearts I've ever had to mend have come from them. And that to betray or to lose trust could take a lifetime to get back. But at different times, I would close my eyes and think about what would my perfect home be? A place that supports, lifts you up when you don't feel like you can get up. One with tradition, and a place that values it. What you do here matters, not only today, but will influence those that follow. And your experience will then be influenced by those who came before. Encourages growth, doesn't judge, challenges you. And the most important one for me was a place that offers unconditional love. To love regardless of your position in life, and no matter your shortcomings. That it's easy to love the winners. Friends with the person that's on top, the champion. It's much harder to fall and to be there for that person, and to not only love them, but to love them more for those flaws. And how important that is when you go through hard times and your chips are down, that you look around and there are people there for you. There's oftentimes what I would think in my head, the things that I dreamed, the home that I dreamed of, the things I imagined, didn't always line up with what was going on in the real world around me. And what a hard lesson that is. The one moment that I can remember for sure in my life lined up perfectly with what I imagined and dreamed is when I arrived here. You'll hear things like, beautiful day in New Hampshire. And you'll likely think that means the sunsets and the sunrises, painting the landscape with shades of pink, orange, and purple that you've likely never seen before. Or the leaves changing in the fall to the vibrant reds and yellows. Or us New Englanders know that bluebird day after a big snowstorm when you come out and everything is painted white. And we've earned those. Or the flowers blooming in the spring. When I was thinking about what to say, I was reminded of something that happened when I was here in 2016, in the spring before I left. I was living in Dewar, and I was walking sort of up the hill to the dining hall. And our former headmaster, Mr. McCusker, a great family, I could see him walking from his house. And it was one of those moments where I could tell that we were gonna line up sort of perfectly. And I remember thinking in my head, it's pretty early, not super sure I wanna go to breakfast with my boss right now. But I'm happy I did, because we talked, we caught up a little bit, and he kind of nudged me. And it was one of those sunrises that I was talking about. And he said, you know, sometimes I think this is the most beautiful place in the world. And I don't know if he thought it would have any impact on me, But some things that you hear and you can't explain stick with you more than others. And this has sort of played back in my head for years. And I was sitting on the dock looking at the lake last week, and I think I finally realized what he meant. That while the landscape is beautiful, the weather, those days I was explaining, are going to be beautiful, it's about the people, my colleagues and friends. It's in the way that you boys love and support each other. It's in acknowledging that we, too, can learn from you the same way you learn from us. It's about the look on a visitor's face when they come here, and they're just bewildered at the pace and the energy that flows through this campus, unlike anywhere else. And that if you really closed your eyes and you were alone, and you thought hard about it, you could actually feel it humming through your bones. And in no other place that I've ever been do I know that to be true. So I welcome you to embrace a new adventure that will likely change your life. One that has changed mine. And to a family that will always support you and be here to love you. And how they've done that for me. And how grateful and appreciative I am for the opportunity to come home. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carpino, for those moving words. As we contemplate on Mr. Carpino's words, let us also give thanks to Cardigan, our favorite school. After the amazing race and after hearing Ms. Jocelyn and Coach Kreuzberg in the dialogue, I've been musing upon this idea of getting to, not having to. Gift, you say thank you, and we get to be here, just as Mr. Robert C. Hopkins writes in the hymn. So as I do during the first time we sing the hymn together, I invite you to muse upon these words, explore them, think about what they actually mean, because it is a song of thanks for the gift that we have received, the gift of this place that has made memories for many men before and many men afterwards. It's like a handwritten thank you note. Singing is like the cursive of speech. We're taking it one level up. Please rise and remove your hats for the Cardigan hymn.
Please join me now in prayer or silent reflection. Gracious and merciful God, we thank you for this beautiful place. We thank you for each boy here who has chosen to make his home with us in this global community. Give them all wisdom, discernment, steadfastness, and courage to navigate the waters of the year ahead. May each of their boats rise above any storm on the currents and winds of our traditions and values. We thank you for the dedicated faculty, administration, and staff who serve these boys and this school with selfless devotion. Bless them with patience, kindness, gentleness, and humility as they captain these young men into their futures. Be our compass, loving God, and stir within us the desire and means to be all you created us to be. Now may we all go out in joy and be led forth in peace. Amen.